What's going on, guys? I'm Brian and welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a look at the Darkflash DLX21 mesh in white. That is that case right there that's housing my current system. Now, this is basically the full tower version of the DLM21, and if you've watched any of my previous PC videos, you probably already know that the DLM21 is one of my favorite MATX cases currently on the market. So for me, my expectations are actually pretty dang high for this case. And without ruining it too much for you guys, let's just say this case really hasn't let me down. Now, for transparency, Darkflash did send this case over to me for review, but as I'm sure you guys all know, this will not impact my review in any way. Okay, so let's start by talking about variations and pricing. The DLX series comes in actually 2 model variations along with 2 different colors at the time of recording this video. We have the DLX21 mesh, which is the one that we're gonna be looking at closer here today, and then we also have the DLX22. Both cases come in black and white, and the main difference between the 2 cases is that the DLX21 mesh is going to have a mesh front panel, while the DLX22 is going to have a strict, like, flat metal front panel. Both variations also come in at the exact same price tag of just $110, and just like most Darkflash cases, they do not include any fans. So if you're going to pick up this case, make sure you include the cost of fans into your budget. As I said in my review of the DLX22, this is definitely kind of a bummer for some people, but, and I think it's kind of a big but, most people I personally know replace the included fans anyway. So, you know, I'd like to have the fans included with my cases. However, it's not the absolute end of the world if they don't come with them, especially since the DLX series of cases do have some cool premium and unique features that are packed into this case. So let's start talking about the design here. There's really a lot to like here. As I said before, this is basically like a blown up version of the DLM21 mesh. Starting at the front, we're going to have a metal mesh front panel that can be easily removed to reveal mounting locations for up to 3 120mm or 3 140mm fans. And you should also be able to fit up to a 360mm radiator here as well. On the top of the case, we're going to find just a couple things worth mentioning. The first is going to be our case's I/O, which will include a power button, a reset button, a USB-C port, a USB 3.0 port, a USB 2.0 port, typical audio jacks that you'll find on basically every case, as well as an LED button. For me, the included I/O is fine. However, I would have definitely preferred to see the ports aligned the opposing way, as if you have like a wider device to plug in, it could potentially interfere with some of the ports. Now, Darkflash laid out the ports in a way that the chances of this happening are very slim to none, but it can happen depending on how big your device really is. Along with that, on the top, we're going to have a dust filter that attaches to the case via some magnets, as well as mounting room for up to 3 120mm fans or 2 140mm fans. A 360mm radiator will fit here as well if you decide you want to mount that radiator to the top instead of to the front. On the back, there's not going to be much to talk about. However, there is room for a 120mm or a 140mm fan, and you will also have like your typical rear layout that includes, you know, your motherboard back I/O, as well as expansion slots, as well as a cutout towards the bottom for your power supply. Under the cutout, we're going to also have a removable dust filter that spans the entire bottom of the case, and then we also have 4 feet that keeps this guy up, 1 in each corner, and it raises the case about 19mm up, so let a nice amount of airflow to go through to keep your power supply nice and fueled with fresh air. We then have our side panels, which in my opinion are one of the best features of this case, and they are both attached to the case via like that hinge mechanism, as well as magnets to keep it closed. They're super easy to open and they firmly close when you want them to close. The front panel is going to be an all tempered glass panel, while the back panel is going to be all metal with some ventilation holes for airflow. The ventilation holes do also have a dust filter inside the back panel. Where that dust filter lies, you're going to actually have room to mount 2 120mm fans, and you could also fit a 240mm radiator here if you decided you wanted to go that route. Cable management is also pretty awesome with this case. Looking at the back side, where there are pre-installed Velcro straps and plenty of anchors for zip ties. Now, the one note I have here is that you will need to be kind of careful with the Velcro straps. They're not the best quality, as I actually accidentally broke one rather easily by just tightening the strap a little bit too much when I was trying to, you know, get the cables nice and as flat as possible against the back of the case. And Dark Flash doesn't include any replacements for these straps in case you accidentally break them inside the accessory box. I'm fairly confident that if you went out and you reached out to their warranty team, they would send you replacements. However, do you really want to contact their warranty team for a Velcro strap? It's kind of a bummer it broke so easily for me. We also have 2 mounting locations for 2.5-inch drives, and towards the bottom we have our basement. It has a ton of room and includes spot for 2 3.5-inch hard drives if you wish to add any in. The hard drive bay is also removable, and this is definitely something I would highly recommend removing if you don't plan on using it for hard drives and you have a little bit larger of a power supply. My power supply is about 175 millimeters long, and it's just fine, but the hard drive bay does get in the way with all the cables that I need. So once I plug all the cables in, it does get kind of cramped in there. It's kind of hard to fit it in there, and you gotta wiggle some stuff around just to get it to work, and it's just it's just kind of a pain in the butt. I would highly recommend trying to get a power supply around 150 millimeters long if you do plan on using like that included hard drive bay. This way you have enough room for your power supply and you have plenty of room for the drive bay as well. The inside of the front of the case is going to be pretty standard for a case of this size. We're going to have room for up to an eATX motherboard, cutouts for cable management, and an anti-sag bracket for your GPU. The inclusion of that anti-sag bracket is obviously unique and it's pretty cool. It's certainly not the most aesthetically pleasing of implementations, but it is here. And if you're someone who's buying a massive graphics card, let's say, I don't know, like the RTX 3090, it could definitely be a game changer to help prevent you from having GPU sag and maybe breaking your PCIe slot or whatever, even though they're reinforced nowadays. You never know when you have a card as big as the RTX 3090. On the flip side, there are going to be a couple of things I didn't like about the internal design. Nothing major, but they are worth noting here for you guys. First off is going to be the cable management cutouts. None of them have rubber grommets, which I think for this price point is an absolute must. At least have some sort of cover over them, because if you don't do great cable management in the back of the case, you're going to see cables going down and it just doesn't look all that pretty. And the second thing is going to be basically tied to what I just said, and that is that where the side fans go, so the fans that go on the right hand side of the case, it's great that the fans fit here and you can get more airflow for your system, but what if you decide not to put fans there? You just have like these open area that you can see the back panel of it, and it just doesn't look that great in my opinion. I really wish that Dark Flash had some sort of cover that you could either just use them by a magnet and just stick it on, or if you could screw it in or whatever, just in case you decided you didn't want to put fans there. Now, as for thermal and noise testing, this case shouldn't be an issue as it has plenty of room for airflow, adding fans, all that kind of stuff. You can add like 3 to the front, 3 to the top, you can have 1 in the back, you can have 2 on the side. I mean, you can have a ton of, that's what, 9 different fans you can fit in this case. You should have plenty of airflow if you fill everything up, so you should have no issues with not having enough airflow and it being too hot or anything like that. But I didn't get to do any thorough thermal and noise testing for the system because I haven't finished filling out the components I want to test every single case with. So what I'm planning on doing is I am still working on getting all the parts together. I'm going to have a dedicated system for every single case review that I do at some point, not now, but at some point. And then I'm going to take all those components, put it in the system, test it the same exact way every single time, and this way I'll have better results for you guys in the future. And then I'm going to also do a full recap video with all the cases I've tested prior to getting that system, just so you guys have an idea of where those temperatures lie as well. So it's not going to be in this video, but in the future, once I actually get a system put together that I can move from system to system, I will have results for that as well. Unfortunately, it won't be on here, but again, if you want to buy this case, temperatures, noise is not going to be an issue, as this case is great. And so the Dark Flash DLX21 mesh is pretty impressive in my opinion. It looks great, it's easy to build in, and it's competitive cost-wise too. Yes, it has some flaws that I feel should be certainly included at this price point, namely like the rubber grommets, which should definitely be there, at least optional ones that you can, comes with the accessory kit and you can put them in yourself or whatever. I do think that Dark Flash is moving in the right direction with this case, and they are reminding me a lot of Phanteks a few years back. They're adding a lot of cool features to their cases, and I'm really excited about their future. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys liked it, please give me a thumbs up. If you loved it, subscribe for more tech content just like this, and be sure to drop any of your questions in the comments below or in the community Discord, which is absolutely free to join, and there's a link to it in the description box below. I hope you guys have a great rest of your guys' day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.